Getting the smile and confidence you've been dreaming about, all from the comfort of your home, isn't a total mystery with Byte clear aligners. Just don't be surprised if all your friends start asking, "What's your secret?" Begin by ordering your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95. Byte clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer flexible financing, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
Welcome to Criminality, the podcast about true crime and reality TV. I'm Rebekah. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Rebekah. I almost said a hi, Melissa. Hi, Rebekah. How are you?
I'm really good. I feel like we have things to talk about that have to do with TV.
Oh, okay. I feel like there's a lot of new stuff out there. Not Chimp Crazy. We've established that.
Not happening.
That's not your jam.
Nope.
Is there anything that has struck your fancy this week that we're not talking about at the end of the show?
Well, I think that's what I was getting at. So I did tune into The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Mm-hmm. Could also be Secret Wives. We don't know.
True. This season's not over. And that is very watchable.
The most watchable thing in a long time. Do you know who's obsessed with that show that will shock listeners? Probably. Maybe. I don't know if it'll shock you. I don't think so.
I don't know.
Our friend Laura Norton.
I was going to guess Laura Norton, and I was like, no.
She sends me so many TikToks of breakdowns, and I'm shaming her for this because I'm loving it. But I'm like, she is just getting even more than I am. It's fascinating. And so I'm very glad you've been watching it because now I can forward them to you.
Yes, please.
You should just put us in a text chain and send them to
both of us.
Yeah,
let's get efficient about this. What's the most recent development in that world? Well, one, have they survived Mom Talk? Is it still going?
Mom Talk is still a thing.
Okay.
Well, it's not really a development, but just before we recorded, she sent me a TikTok of the girl Whitney who had done the RSV baby dance in the hospital.
So
which I remember that.
Uncomfy. I feel like I saw it too. But
I'm
maybe
sure you did.
I just saw people pointing it out on TikTok after. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't. And that's how I saw it. Like somebody being like, what is this?
Yes. Okay. I did see that. And now I'll never unsee it.
I know. But she just sent me another one of the baby being under the the lights for jaundice, at their house, and her dancing to that too about jaundice.
It doesn't
wild.
Makes sense. You'd think she'd learn from the first time. I guess she thought this is way less of a big deal. Nobody will get.
Yeah, I don't know if this was before or after that one. So it could have been that she just didn't learn her lesson in general, or she thought people liked it. No, can't be that. That one
can't be that. If the word hasn't gotten back to her, somebody please help deliver. Also, they don't all look alike at all, and yet I cannot tell any of them apart.
I feel like that's the first few. I felt like that with Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Like Meredith and Lisa were the same person for several episodes.
Yeah.
And they're not at all.
They're not at all. I never had it with them, but with these girls, there's something about it that I can't, and they're not distinct enough. I mean, with Housewives, there's always major distinct personality traits. And these, I think, are just more subtle, and you have to they unfold more slowly.
Right.
But I'm only a few episodes in. And I'm concerned for all of them.
As you should be. As you should be. It heats up towards the end as well. But the beginning, the first episode is the most amount of craziness going on at once. I couldn't.
Jam-packed. But then by episode 2 or maybe 3, I can't remember, some crazy amount of time has passed.
11 months.
Yeah, and I don't quite understand the structure of the show. Mm-hmm. And it's well produced. It's nicely done. It's Hulu, but I'm there's so much I don't understand. Because in the first couple, I was wait, were these girls the soft swingers or not?
Yeah.
it seemed like they were acting like they weren't, but they were also acting like they were so mad that she talked about it. But I guess it's because it affected their mom.
Because they're all on that hashtag or whatever. So
yeah, but it wasn't entirely clear. I don't know. Maybe that was just me.
they didn't. And that was the worst part. Like the producers absolutely could have been like, Whitney, not a part of soft swinging. It wouldn't have been that hard.
Very helpful. Maybe they want you to keep guessing and keep watching. I don't know. Also, I was like, half the time when they would put their age up, I'd be like, she is so much younger than I thought. Or sadly, the who's 28?
Oh,
is it Taylor?
Demi, Jesse, Taylor yeah, maybe it's Taylor.
Turned 20. I'm like, that is so old. I'm like, she's so old. Like, not in real life.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she's, but somehow in that setting, that age seems wrong.
Well, yeah, it's like when housewives bring in like a 20-year-old and you're like, this does not, look, Gina
doesn't compute.
Work. But in general, it's like Vicky's 60 and then Gina's like 33. It's like, why are you guys hanging out? This is a little much.
Yeah. And they all seem so young and naive that when I hear 28, I'm just like, you should know better by now. Like, you should not be doing this.
Yeah. All I want is all the Diet Cokes and stuff they're drinking. Like, those are my people.
Yeah. I'm hearing all about these amazing soda bars.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen them on the show yet, but I've heard about it. And someone was sort of telling me as in like how tacky and distasteful and like bad for you is that. And I'm like, sounds amazing. Where is it? I want to go.
Magic. I know. It seems like it's all over Utah. So we'll have to do that sometime.
I do. We've talked about this, but Salt Lake City.
It's like my bucket list place. I really want to go
Why
there.
Have we not? I might have even said this on the show already. Can our first live show be in Salt Lake City?
I would be offended if it wasn't.
Okay, listeners.
I mean,
do you live in or around Salt Lake City? And if we came, would you come to see us? Right?
Yeah, we're going to definitely need just one yes. I think I could agree to it. So please, anyone, even if you don't live there, just say yes. In the comments. Thank you.
Please.
And we'll do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Glad we cleared that up and put that out into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think there's only one way to do this. This is not an easy one, this story. So apologies in advance. I'm not sure how we're going to feel about this, but I think it's one where we just have to kind of start.
Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, I was waiting for your consent. I was like,
I didn't quite hear the last word, so I was like, what are we doing?
Well, on October 28th, 2023, our beloved friend and superstar Matthew Perry was found dead in a jacuzzi. It was not his own. Cause of death turned out to be acute effects of ketamine in his system. The amount far surpassed what was legally prescribed to him. And as many of us are learning since this horrible tragedy, ketamine therapy is becoming kind of this cutting-edge treatment for severe cases of depression. And many patients who use it feel amazing relief for the first time in years, some people decades. However, it is very important to note that this is not approved by the FDA, but it can be done legally in highly controlled environments under the care and supervision of a medical doctor who knows your entire medical history. You're not supposed to be able to have it dispensed to you and taken home by yourself or with a friend. Like, that's not actually how it's supposed to be done. And I don't think Matthew Perry's the only person doing that. But just to let you know, I just think it's important to state that there is a way to do this very legally, but it isn't FDA approved in the sense that you can just go get it filled at the pharmacy for yourself.
I don't think you know this yet, but Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, a couple of them do ketamine therapy. It's coming up for you.
Is it?
They talk about it.
They talk about it. Oh, that's such a cool tie-in. Mm-hmm. In real life, I know people who have done it or are doing it and seeing tremendous results. So I definitely think there are people for whom it really, really works, but that it's something you really have to go in with your eyes wide open and work on with your doctor. So that's how people in Matthew Perry's life thought he was using the ketamine. But the investigation is revealing that the amount found in his system was enough to be used as general anesthesia.
Whoa.
And that is not obviously the appropriate amount. Since his passing, 5 people have been named in connection to his death. 2 doctors, Dr. Salvador Placencia, I'm not sure, and Dr. Mark Chavez. His dealer, Jasveen Sanja, also known as the ketamine queen, his assistant Kenneth, and his acquaintance/friend/dealer, depending on who you ask, Eric Fleming. Melissa, what do you know, if anything, about the people named, and what do you actually think of all the investigation going on around Matthew Perry right now?
So I will say, when he died and everyone was like, investigate, I was like, this is just like an unfortunate thing. Like, people wanted to make it a thing, and, maybe he accidentally overdosed. I did not expect it to lead to charges. And I guess I also didn't know what ketamine was. For some reason, I thought it was like Suboxone. Is it Suboxone?
Oh, yeah. Not Narcan. That's when you're overdosing. Suboxone. Yeah. Oh, you thought it was like a replacement drug.
Absolutely.
Therapy.
I didn't know it was for depression, anything like that. I thought it was to keep him off of harder drugs. I just didn't know what ketamine was. But clearly the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives are not doing it to get off of something. So it makes more sense that it's for depression.
Yeah, I actually have known about ketamine for a long time. It used to be called Special K back in the day, and it was very recreationally used. Mm-hmm. I've never tried it, but my understanding is that it is a horse tranquilizer. I feel the exact same way. I'm like, this had to have been a death by suicide or an accidental overdose. And it was beyond tragic. I mean, I hated that story so much, especially because his book had come out and he had been so open about his recovery and his addiction. But then to see that they had these arrests and the evidence and charges, it just became this whole other thing that I've been, only because of this episode, really looking into. But not to, I guess I'm bearing the lead here. Today's episode is not actually directly about Matthew Perry or the 5 people indicted in the case, but it is about a woman with close ties to Matthew Perry and 2 of the 5 defendants. Now, she hasn't been formally charged in connection to his death, but she sits close enough to the periphery of it that she's been interviewed by the police, and it was her statements in an interview that led to one of the 5 arrests.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you know today's guest, and some people will, and I think some people won't, it's probably not for the reasons I just mentioned.
No.
You probably know Brooke Mueller because she pretty much epitomizes reality TV stardom, because she was best friends with Paris Hilton, and because she was very briefly married to Charlie Sheen. And if everyone can stay with me, I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey that will end up back at this current investigation and criminal proceedings around Matthew Perry's death. But first, we have to talk about the reality TV of it all. Melissa, we talk a lot about reality TV stars and celebrities, and I think if we've learned anything, it's that there is no one path to stardom, right?
Right.
Some people are born into it. Think Princess of Malibu or Tori Spelling.
Oh, gosh.
There's a segment that came and went like a thief in the night.
She's on Dancing with the Stars now. I can't do it. It's too. I know she's getting injured and hurting herself a million times. I don't have it in me.
Same. I think enough. This is not our season for Tori. And other people were born nowhere near it, so they would chase it relentlessly, like some other people we've covered, the Chrisleys, Darcy and Stacey Silva. And others, too, just seem to be in the right place at the right time with the right people. Brooke Mueller's star was rising very slowly in the early aughts, but it shot across the galaxy when she married Charlie Sheen in 2008. Brooke was lucky wife number 3, following his first wife, Donna Peel, who was one of Heidi Fleiss's escorts. Wife number 2, who you know, Denise Richards, that we all know from many movies, and of course, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Mm-hmm. But you really need more than luck on your side to be married to Charlie Sheen, which Brooke soon learned. And after today's story, I would argue that she may have actually ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time with all the wrong people. So, who exactly is Brooke Mueller, and why are we talking about her again in 2024? Well, to start, she's not Brooke Burke, who I thought she was and pictured her as when I chose to do this story. And Melissa actually had to clarify, those are 2 different people. And truly very, very different. But for some reason, interchangeable in my mind.
There were a couple Brookes during like the early 2000s that everyone got confused. So maybe it's just a Brooke thing that...
Maybe they don't even look alike. In fact, I was looking at Brooke Burke thinking she almost looks more like Vanessa Lachey.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a me thing, I think.
Okay.
But a little about Brooke. Brooke J. Mueller was born in 1977 in New York State capital, Albany. Her dad was an interesting combo of things: school teacher, police officer, and real estate investor. But he tragically died in a motorcycle accident when she was only 12 years old. Now, this event really changed the course of Brooke's life. Like, I wonder what would have happened if she had just stayed in Albany. But she didn't, because her mom, 2 years after he died, her name is Moira, the mom, would remarry a Florida real estate mogul. He was like a multimillionaire. And she moved the family, including Brooke, to Palm Beach. And in Palm Beach, Brooke now attended fancy private schools. She had a total lifestyle change. They had tennis courts in the backyard. They would winter in Aspen. She learned how to ski. She became quite an athlete, actually, skiing, snowboarding, tennis, all of it. And she became a Palm Beach socialite, complete with her first DUI in Miami, for which she served no jail time. So when it came time to go to college, it wasn't shocking to people that she chose Pepperdine University in Malibu, which I really wanted one of my kids to go to. I think I took all of them to visit, including Annabelle, most recently, where we saw one of Denise Richards' daughters. I think I shared that on the podcast. Amazing full circle here. So she goes to LA, goes to Pepperdine, and she really starts to party. Like, she'd been partying. She already had a DUI, like, while she was in high school practically back in Florida. But this is like next level.
Right.
She had the money and the means to go to the best clubs, and she quickly became friends with the most notorious party girls at the time in Hollywood, Paris Hilton, Tara Reid, among others. She did manage to graduate from college, which I'm actually super impressed by.
Yeah.
And she went on to get a couple small acting gigs, a supernatural horror film called Witch House. Did you see it?
Wait, witch as in like a witch's brew, or like witch? Okay.
Like supernatural horror, so Witch House, but it is spelled with just one H. It's like, it's weird. So I looked up the movie, and the reviews, not surprisingly, are terrible across the board. And I thought, I wonder if like Brooke was good. Like, maybe she was one of those people that just go always like bad gigs, but they were like the shining light of the project.
Jennifer Aniston's first movie was like Leprechaun or something.
Was that her first?
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, she was great in everything, so... Yeah, she could have been the next Jennifer Aniston.
She was a shining star there.
Well, wouldn't be the case. This reviewer on IMDb said, horrible all around. I'm a fan of bad B movie horror that's so bad it's good, but this is not even that. This is D- horror movie minus any horror. Plot is horrible. Acting is horribly worse. One female character is so annoying, you hope she will go fast and horribly painful. Turns out it's Brooke Mueller, ex-wife addict of Charlie Sheen. So that's unfortunate. And it would be many years till she got her next role, which was a comedy called Strictly Sexual. But by this time, Brooke is a fixture in the Hollywood nightlife, and she's honestly much more interested in partying than showing up to sets on time, auditioning, maintaining business relationships, all of it. So she's just going out and enjoying her life. And the drugs are escalating in severity. She started out kind of just doing a little bit of cocaine, but pretty soon it turned into much more often and much harder drugs. It was around 2006 that her good friend, Rebekah Gayheart, another massive star at the time, tells her that Charlie Sheen wants to meet her and take her on a date, because that's the kind of parties Brooke was being seen at. Everyone in Brooke's life said, girl, run. I mean, I don't know what they actually said, but basically we're like, no.
Girl.
Yes, exactly. And at the time, like I said, she was a recreational drug user whose use was veering into dangerous territory, and people in her life could see that. And they knew what would happen. It would be like a combustion, basically, if the two of them got together. But there was one person in her life who said, it's Charlie Sheen. You have to go on a date with him. And it was her mom, Moira.
Moira.
Yeah. So Brooke says yes. And she goes on and recounts the story, saying she was so charmed by him. He was not trying to be cool. He was a total gentleman, opening the door, paying, the whole thing. And she said, when you were with Charlie, you feel like you were the only person in the room. And that is an intoxicating feeling.
Yeah.
So they're together intensely and quickly. They're engaged quickly. And not long after dating, Brooke becomes very famous. You thought I was going to say pregnant, but no.
Yeah, I did.
That comes shortly thereafter. Now, at the time, Charlie is one of the most famous and highest paid TV actors. So Brooke now has a handsome, famous husband. Okay, so they do get married. Sorry. They didn't have a big wedding. I think that's why I didn't mention it. She has all the money and access she could need, friends who also enjoy a jet-setting lifestyle like her, and less than a year after her marriage to Charlie, she's pregnant with twin boys. But the honeymoon period for Brooke and Charlie was very short-lived. The romance ended and the roller coaster of abuse, allegations, and altercations with the police began. And I'm going to tell you all about it after a quick break to hear from today's sponsors.
Have you ever had that moment when you're leaving the house and you wonder, did I lock the door? Or worse yet, you start spiraling and you imagine all the what ifs. I used to feel that way all the time, but it wasn't until a few years ago when I heard about a break-in just a few blocks away that I realized I needed to really step up my home security game. And now I can spiral about the what ifs on things that don't matter, like reality stars, instead of the what ifs of home security. We've had SimpliSafe protecting our house for the last few years now, and it's a total game changer. With SimpliSafe's Fast Protect monitoring, I know within 5 seconds if something's actually up, and the lifeguards can actually speak to intruders to stop them. That's faster than a reality TV star can throw a drink. One of the things I really love the most is you're not locked into some over-the-top 90-day fiancé level contract drama. SimpliSafe is actually affordable as well, less than $1 a day with no hidden fees, so it's easy to love. It's no wonder they've been named Best Home Security Systems by U.S. News & World Report for 5 years running. Whether you want to install it yourself, it really takes less than an hour, or have a professional handle it, SimpliSafe is as easy as flipping channels between Chimp Crazy and The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So why wait for the drama to happen? Get SimpliSafe and know your home is covered just like I did. Protect your home with 50% off a new SimpliSafe system, plus a free indoor security camera when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/criminality. That's simplysafe.com/criminality. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
This episode is sponsored by AutoTrader. There's a good chance you're driving right now. Look around. Safely. What do you see? Cars. Lots of them. And guess what? They're probably on AutoTrader. Whether you're into timeless classics or the latest trends. Did somebody say solar-powered, eco-friendly, vegan, leather-wrapped, aromatherapy-scented, disco ball-equipped, self-driving car? If you see it on the road, you can likely find it on AutoTrader. Big cars, small cars, blue cars, new cars, used cars, electric cars, and one day, maybe even flying cars. With millions to choose from, buying a car becomes a whole lot easier. See it, find it, AutoTrader. Find your next car on autotrader.com.
So I did have a question for you. Is this his relationship with Brooke before or after the goddesses? Remember when he was dating two?
I think it's before. I think that all happened during his total steroid rage breakdown.
Got it. I just can't remember.
But I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
We can look into that.
We'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah. Context clues. So it's 2009 and Charlie Sheen and Brooke Mueller are vacationing in Aspen. But the holiday takes a very dark turn when, on Christmas morning, a fight between the two erupt. You are nodding as if you've heard of this. This is their notorious fight. And this wasn't their first and only fight, but it was the one that everyone knows about. So it started off as an argument because Charlie was singing to one of his daughters with ex-wife Denise Richards over the phone, like just kind of singing one of their favorite songs to her.
Right.
And this quickly escalated to Charlie allegedly threatening Brooke with a knife because Brooke was very upset about the time on the phone.
Okay.
Now, according to reports, Brooke claims Charlie grabbed her by the throat and brandished the knife, threatening to kill her. Charlie, on the other hand, maintains he was defending himself because she was attacking him and denied using the weapon aggressively, saying he was just holding it. I think holding a knife is aggressive. I mean, brandishing is...
If we're arguing and you're holding a knife, even if you're about to cut a cake, I'm nervous.
100%. I think there's no situation in which, now that you mention it, I'm surprised more.
I mean, if you give me the cake at the end of the discussion, fine. But I don't know that in the middle of it.
100%. So the fight gets so heated, cops are called. I don't know if it was from one of them or outside of the house neighbors. I don't know. Charlie does get arrested on charges of domestic violence, including second-degree assault and menacing, which a lot more people need to be charged with menacing in my own life. So the couple, they try to reconcile after this, but the damage was done. So they're on again and off again over the next year, but ultimately they're legally separated a year later.
Okay.
The worst part about that fight is that their twins, whom I didn't name before, Bob and Max, were born at this point and were in the home. They were just 9 months old. So as you can imagine, their separation and then eventually their divorce caused a massive custody battle, during which Brooke was put on an involuntary psychiatric hold. But, put a pin in that because the real custody issues don't even start until after Brooke is arrested several times, all of which happened after her reality TV debut, which is really when America, or the 230,000 Americans who watched it, got a deeper look into Brooke's struggles. The ratings were very bad. That was like over the course of the season, I think.
Oh, wow.
So let's talk about this show, which I haven't named yet. Do you know the name?
I don't.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Okay, the year is 2011.
Okay.
Oxygen is not yet a true crime exclusive network. In fact, it had a lot of reality shows at the time. And this one was called The World According to Paris, featuring Paris Hilton.
There you go.
And Brooke Mueller was Paris's best friend, and she was a full-time cast member. I'm taking it you didn't watch this.
No, I had no idea that honestly, I didn't have any idea that she was friends with Paris Hilton before all of this, but I definitely did not watch that show. 2011, I had like a 2-year-old, so that probably
that
makes
explains
sense.
that.
I was working a lot.
But I did buy the season on Amazon and watched the whole thing, and I kind of enjoyed it. It was terrible, but I really enjoyed getting to know Brooke Mueller because I really did not have a sense of her essence, if you will, and you sure do learn it on that show. So a lot was at stake for Paris and Brooke and the show. The show came to be because Paris wanted a vehicle to repair her reputation. She was trying to show she was maturing out of her party girl era. In fact, she turns 30 on one of the show's episodes. So she's like, I'm not that girl anymore. I'm this girl, and I want to build an empire that my grandfather, Conrad Hilton, would be proud of. That's actually part of the log line of the show.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And Brooke, she's a year out of her divorce from Charlie, which included violence, custody battles, and generally really just a bad, dark season of her life. And Brooke wanted to show she could stay sober, thrive independently, be a great mother, and get her career going again. So enter this show.
Okay.
Now, we look back on the show now, 2024 eyes, as you and I often do, and just go, who let this happen?
Right.
Like, where were all the grown-ups? Brooke is a heartbroken woman, fragile in her sobriety, struggling to parent her kids. And the show puts a lot of pressure on all of these things because pretty much the premise of every episode is Paris helping, I say with air quotes, Brooke get her life together. I'm going to just... Yeah. Oh, and Kathy Hilton is very prominently featured in this because Brooke is actually super close to Kathy, and it even causes tension with Paris. But it's better that you guys just listen for yourselves.
Yeah. And you guys are all done up. Well, we have a little surprise. What's a surprise? Well, you've got a big night tonight. I have a big night tonight, and I feel sick. Well, we're going to take you and make you feel better. We're going to go to the Joseph Martin Salon. And then Paris and I are going to go out and do a little shopping and surprise you. Is there something wrong with my hair? No. Is there something wrong with the way I look? No.
We just want to make it look better. This makeover couldn't have come at a better time. I love Brooke, but look at her.
Okay, well, you're beautiful. No, just be honest with me. That's all I want is honesty. But aren't you excited we're going to go shopping for you? How much money am I spending?
Okay, Rebekah, what is the first thing I said when she came on the screen?
Oh, she looks good.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're just berating her and saying, we just want you to look better and all this. And I literally started it off saying, she looks great.
How would that make you feel better? Would you feel more or less nervous going on a first blind date after a divorce if Paris and Kathy Hilton were dressing you and getting your hair done.
I mean, that's not hot. I would not like that at all. I would just be like, maybe I need more time. I need more time.
What I really have come to appreciate about Brooke is like what a straight shooter she is. Like she wasn't like, thank you. You know, she's like, is there something wrong with the way I look?
Right.
Could you guys just be honest with me? I just really, she's such a great balance to, even just her voice to Paris's is like, it's interesting that they're friends. They're very, very different.
Well, if you think Paris and Nicole, they were way similar at that time.
Yes.
Like they were like the same person.
Right. This is such an interesting dichotomy where exactly. That's a great point. So the whole show basically has premises like that every single episode.
Oh gosh.
And Paris is always encouraging her to go on a date with a terrible person. Now, it's important to note something. Brooke is in and out of trouble with the law pretty consistently between the years 2006 to 2021, and they're all very similar stories. She's also, during these years, in and out of rehab, treatment programs, and trauma centers. And I noticed something watching the show that she gets into situations where she feels scared or triggered or out of control, or like she feels like she's about to use drugs or drink, and she will just remove herself and check herself into rehab. And that happened shortly after this episode, and you're going to hear about it in a second.
Okay.
She went on the blind date, and it just felt all wrong. She wasn't ready. It was too much too soon. And shortly thereafter, she goes back to rehab. She loves treatment programs because they're safe, they're predictable, they keep her out of trouble, and they also give her a break. I think parenting the twins alone was really hard.
Yeah.
And when she got to go away, she kind of just was able to, the stressors weren't there that make her want to use, right?
Anyone that watches Teen Mom, Caitlin and Tyler, they place their baby up for adoption. She goes a couple times to like treatment centers and is like, I need to be here. I need to be here. And people have said that about her. I don't know that it's true, but like she needed a break. And that was, and I can, the amount of days in a week where I say, check me in.
Especially when my kids were little. I mean, it was very appealing. Like we're not talking about a vacation. I'm like, just give me a wall with a bed. Like, I just need a room with a door and a bed.
Breaking a leg sounds like a good idea. Anything that gets you in the hospital is like,
did you ever fantasize about that? Like, I want to get sick to where like I'm not able to help anyone, but I'm not dying.
Yeah.
I just can be left alone.
I almost had a third kid just for the like 3 days in the hospital.
This is how desperate we get.
Yeah.
And we lose all sense of logic. And wow. So she goes here knowing she doesn't have to be a mom or a friend or a daughter or a co-parent. She can just focus on herself getting better. But it does seem like she gets out and she's unable to apply what she learns in the program to her life outside of rehab. And so she kind of gets in this endless loop of bouncing in and out of recovery centers.
Got it.
And I just want to show you an example of this happening. And I also think it's a really important scene that we discuss from the show if you go to the second clip with Kathy and Brooke.
I'm having really bad cravings, really bad urges. It's that I just feel like I'm going to do something stupid. I think I have to go back to rehab.
We all want what's best for Brooke. And for her to say she needs to check into rehab, that means it must be really serious.
The addiction is just really powerful. Honey, it's nothing to be ashamed of. I just feel like I am not strong enough, that I can't do this on my own, and that worries me. And I'm so embarrassed to even tell you this.
Why are you embarrassed?
That I have to go back someplace and check myself so I don't do anything stupid.
Don't be embarrassed. What's there to be embarrassed about?
See, I need help. I need help, okay?
Okay, fine.
I need help.
Well, I'm glad that we can do something. I don't mean to be mean. We're not going to let you go down this road again. Do you hear me?
What's wild about that is Brooke isn't 18 or 19 in this. I know she's a decent amount older, and just the way she's acting, like her behavior feels very young.
Very adolescent.
And like Kathy's her mom. It's it's a weird dynamic. And I can't believe they titled that like Brooke's Addiction or Brooke's, like her name is in that episode as like basically Brooke screws up again. But yeah, it almost seems, I don't know.
Say it.
I'm not going to guess about somebody's sobriety, but I felt more like she had already gotten back into using. Just compared to the last clip I saw, it seemed like maybe she wasn't avoiding it. She struggled with it. It was just part of her life at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, her sobriety was so up and down. She probably, something maybe already had happened.
Right.
And she's like, I better get there before it gets really bad.
Yeah.
But is this not like kind of really intense for one of these shows?
It's wild for one of these shows.
And then
especially,
Paris's voiceover narration. How did that fit into for you, like production-wise?
Production-wise, it was a choice. It was Paris using her Paris voice, not her human voice.
Yeah.
And we've seen her speak to Congress. She can turn it on and off when she wants to. So yeah, it didn't feel right for this situation. But I mean, also I would never want Kathy Hilton to yell at me.
Oh my God. Kathy's tough love is like, God, I need that, but I do not ever want it. Like
Kathy's tough love will get you in the back of a van, headed off to some mountain, like whatever. So I don't need that.
Not minutes later, she wakes up Rick and an SUV comes for Brooke.
Oh my gosh.
That is their MO. We know this to be true. Here's the thing for me. Before that scene, Paris opens it up narrating. And I think they were going for some kind of Sex in the City, narration.
Oh my gosh.
And the writing and Paris's delivery just make it land so poorly. But she says, Brooke went to see my mom to talk about rehab again. I was upset that she went to my mom and didn't feel she could tell me. And then it goes into the scene and I'm like, this is and then you see what's going on and you're like, Paris, why did they let that part of the script go in? It was so inappropriate.
It's like a weird jealousy that
it's just she's unable to not make things about her.
Yeah.
Even though she's 30 and growing out of that stage in this show. And really, this is too heart-wrenching of a scene. Really, that was a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And it would be wrong of me to talk about how poorly received the show is, but I just need to mention Entertainment Weekly gave the series a D, stating that, quote, unlike Keeping Up with the Kardashians, this show fails to deliver any frothy fun and the stars come off as completely unlikable. Howard Stern called it, quote, the greatest reality show I ever saw because I've seen a human being so devoid of any humanity. There is nothing in Paris Hilton that indicates she has a heart or soul.
Okay. Do you know what that review just did for me?
Do you want to watch
it? I have to get it. Yes, of course.
Dude, I'll just give you my my Amazon login. Don't buy it.
Thank you.
This is a tax write-off. So, okay, like it or not, we continue to watch Brooke on the show find trouble on and off the show. Shortly after the show premieres, Brooke finds trouble once again in a very triggering place for her, Aspen, Colorado, where Paris was always trying to get her go, knowing it was this traumatic place for her where she had that big knife fight with Charlie.
And that kind of tracks because isn't that where Kathy and Kyle had an infamous blow up?
Yes. That's where Kathy stormed out. That's where the thing happened that we'll never know. The thing that was said.
The thing that was said, that was probably said, that we'll never know. But I think we have an idea. I've read enough things to have an idea.
Yeah, I do too. We will not say them here.
We won't. But yeah, that makes me feel better because I'm never going to be an Aspen person.
Thinking that, rich people get the most fun, cool places to have traumatic experiences. The rest of us are just, in the Target parking lots or whatever. They get to be an Aspen.
This is off topic, but did you hear about the 8-year-old girl who took her parents' car, drove it to Target?
No.
Goes inside, buys a Frappuccino, buys $400 worth of stuff.
With what?
She must have taken a cart. It was at 6 a.m. She
8 years old.
She hit one mailbox and they let her finish her Frappuccino before they took her.
This girl's my hero.
I'm so obsessed with this story. I know. It's
no one was hurt. If anyone was hurt, we wouldn't be.
No.
But who is she? I need to know her because that's gumption. That girl's going places. Literally, where will she go next? She's 8 and she's already done that. Oh my goodness!
It just blew my mind that she goes into Target and it's I'm going to get my Frappuccino and then I've got some shopping to do and I'll head back home. She's clearly
been watching, an adult do the same. Yes. And she's today's my day to shine.
Yeah.
Wow.
So sorry. I just love that.
No, I can't stop thinking about an 8-year-old driving. That's a miracle, honestly, that she and other people made it out alive.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, back to Aspen, where there's probably not a target. Brooke was at a club called Escobar, and she was partying there. But she was partying there because she had to flee the club where she had previously been, called Belly Up, which doesn't sound like an Aspen bar.
No.
Where she just assaulted a woman. And so she ran over to this other nightclub and was just like, I've just been here partying. And the woman at Belly Up was like, Brooke Mueller just assaulted me. So the police go, they arrest her. She has drugs on her. So now they have her for possession and third-degree assault. Brooke pleads guilty to the felony drug possession, which was cocaine. And in exchange for that, they dropped the assault charges. Okay. So she's given 12 months probation, and the remaining charges are dismissed.
Okay.
So another recovery treatment Brooke tries when she's not in rehab is hiring a sobriety companion. Have you ever heard of one?
Yes, I actually thought Matthew Perry had one for some reason.
Most rich and famous addicts do, and that very much makes sense given the circle they were in, which was the same circle. So essentially, Brooke hires a guy who shadows her every move to keep her from using and who encourages her with inspiration and encouragement and reminders of her goals. What's your thought on that? The idea of that?
It feels like something people that go to Aspen can afford. Mm-hmm. I can see how it'd be helpful, but really you're living in the real world and that's not super feasible. And so I feel like getting her to meetings would be the better thing, making sure she gets there and stuff.
Ding, ding, ding.
And having a sponsor. It doesn't seem like she had a regular sponsor if she's talking to Kathy Hilton.
It does feel like a very shortcut kind of
and short-sighted
to doing the work.
I don't think it's going to last long.
Let's listen to what Paris and Brooke say about it because they have a conversation about it. And then you can move right into the next clip after that and we'll meet the sobriety coach himself.
Okie doke.
Let me show you the master. Here we go.
Does he sleep on the wood floor or this?
No, right on the carpet, right there. First of all, I don't know if I need anybody anymore.
You just need to be comfortable.
And also, it gets expensive.
How much?
$400 a day.
What?
Mm-hmm.
How much is that a month?
I think it's $12,000.
Wow. Oh my God. That could be ideal.
Oh, hey. Can you give us a moment of privacy, please? Please?
All right.
Does this guy think we're doing a drug deal in here? Beat it, loser.
What's up, can I talk to you for a second?
What's going on?
I've been sober for quite a period of time now, and I think that it's the right time to branch off on my own. Because I think I'm using you as a crutch. I think I'm using you so I don't go out and do all that. I don't reach out. I don't go out and go to all these AA meetings and reach out to everybody.
I think that you use the sober companion thing as a shield more than a crutch. It makes it look like you're in recovery, but I don't see you putting in the work for your recovery.
I'm not using. I'm being a good mom. I'm with my kids all the time.
Brooke, the drinking is the end of the relapse. The relapse happens long before the drink.
Okay, so he might be a little creepy, but he actually does make a lot of sense.
I want to be sober for me, for my family, for my career, for my children, for everyone who loves me. Of course I want to stay sober. Sometimes it's a drag.
Yeah.
It's annoying. It's right in the middle of my schedule with my kids.
You have to think big picture. I'm putting in the time now so I can be a better mom, so I can be around for them in the years to come. I'm just like you, Brooke. I got 20 years one day at a time. Tell me how I can help you.
Let's just part ways.
First of all, we literally made all those points about her using it as a crutch
she
and everything.
knows. I know.
Yes.
Other thoughts?
The Paris Hilton voiceover, yeah, he's a creep, but I guess he's okay.
Beat it, loser.
Beat it, loser.
Okay, it was weird. I didn't set the clip up well, but he does sleep on her floor.
That's who was sleeping on the floor.
Yeah, sorry. There was a big chunk before explaining it, but it would have been too long. But
yeah.
There's this moment where Brooke tells her, yeah, he sleeps on my floor. And Paris is like, why? And she's like, I don't know. It just happened. And I didn't feel like I could then tell him not to once it had happened. Like, it was so weird. So I'm thinking, yeah, this guy is like, is a creep and maybe not to be trusted. But then I felt like what he was saying was super smart.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if like I wonder if you pay for like a certain level of it. Cause I'm thinking if you leave somebody who is battling addiction and they've requested a sober companion, why is the sober companion really leaving them? They're like clearly needing it all the time, but like, don't lay on my floor. I mean, don't lay on my bed for sure, but don't lay on my floor. I thought they were talking about a dog.
I know. I really should have mentioned that.
No, it makes it much better. They're talking about a human person.
Well, let's put a pin in the sober companion thing because this is going to come up, and this is coming up in the Matthew Perry investigation, because I'm not saying this about LW, but it turns out some sober companions are big time enablers. And I'm sure they're really good ones, and I'm sure there's everything in between. But my gosh, $400 a day.
And
that's like another drug
inflation. Yeah.
Right. This is how many years ago? 13?
I can't do that
12?
kind of math, but yeah.
I know. When she said, how much is that a month? I'm like, will she know this? And she did. I checked her math. Okay. So the show lasts one short season, and things do not get better for Brooke when the cameras go down. She is in the worst part of the custody battle with Charlie. Now, every time she goes to rehab, think about this. The kids have to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You'd think it would be their dad in a normal situation, but when your dad is Charlie Sheen, this isn't always the best option. So the twins were shuttled back and forth between Brooke's mom, who lives with her new husband, Brooke's brother, and an unlikely ally and support system, Denise Richards. What do we know about Denise? Like, she's kooky. She's married to this cancer-denying charlatan.
He is wild.
Right. But this girl loves children and has a generous heart. We know this.
Absolutely. That's why, like, anytime people were getting upset with her, I always thought back to this story because I thought of anyone, she does not need to take those kids in. He's been a monster to her, but she's like, these are my kids' siblings and I want to take care of them.
I know. Plus, she was a single mom to a special needs daughter by choice. She took in Charlie Sheen's sex worker on Thanksgiving, if you recall, for dinner. Instead of making her wait in the car. This woman's got a heart of gold. So yeah, you basically said Denise's quote to Access Hollywood when asked about this. She said, they're Sam and Lola's brothers. It's a full house, lots of love and life. Brooke knows anytime, and so does Charlie, that anytime they need help with the boys, I'm here. Like, it's incredible.
I mean, it is, absolutely.
And honestly, thank the lucky stars that she was there, because it probably was one of the few places of normalcy for them in what was a very chaotic time. Now, if you ask Brooke today how she feels about this, she is incredibly grateful, effusive about her love for Denise, and they have a great friendship right now. Back then, it was not the case. It was incredibly contentious, so much jealousy. You can imagine that would be a disaster. So back then she was working really hard to get the kids back, but she would constantly relapse again and on it would go. So it was sort of an informal arrangement. Denise would just step up. But in the middle of one of Brooke's sudden trips to rehab, this actually became a legally binding situation because the state of California officially took Brooke's kids away because of reports when she was out of rehab of Brooke doing drugs around the children, walking incoherently in public places, including a bar, barefoot, holding her kids. And people were very afraid for the kids' well-being. So Denise was granted temporary custody of the kids by the court while Brooke focused once again on getting sober. Now, I don't know what you think. We've learned how much the sober companion costs. You may be wondering, how much is all of this and who is paying for it?
Right.
The private rehabs, the homes both exes live in. Well, Charlie, of course. He paid each woman monthly spousal support that would cover their expenses, and they both got the same amount. I think Denise and Charlie were married a little bit longer, but not much.
No. And she was pregnant with the second one, right? When they split. Yeah.
Any guesses what the monthly spousal support is for each woman?
To me, this is going big. $20,000 a month each?
I think we should just listen to Charlie say the amount.
$55,000 a month each, tax-free. You could all live on that, right?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
But wait, there's more. In addition to the $55,000 each, he also bought each of them a home in the same neighborhood as him, so they could kind of have this non-traditional modern family commune situation where the kids could grow up together, walk freely from one house to another, and the parents could be of support to each other. It's like the rich person's sister wives.
Right. But I don't want to be that close to Charlie Sheen.
Oh my gosh, no. He's so gross. But mostly it seemed like Charlie was either always working or always off the rails, and Brooke was either in rehab or relapsing. So only Denise seemed to be living up to her end of this bargain.
Yeah.
But when you're getting your house paid for and $55,000 a month, maybe you would take anyone's kids in too. Like I'd probably
it takes a village to raise a child. I would take a village of children if you paid me $55,000 a month.
Exactly. In 2021, after a period of sobriety and after regaining custody of the kids, Brooke once again got busted for drugs and once again basically was given a slap on the wrist. She never stepped foot inside a jail. She was indicted on 2 counts of possession of meth and a small amount of amphetamine, according to Radar Online. I'm sorry, she did spend 2 days in jail. Sorry.
Yeah.
She was in jail for 2 days and she got out on $1,000 bail, which chump change. I mean,
and
that's
Sherry
like
Shepherd spent 8 days in jail for unpaid parking tickets. Come on.
Let's talk. I mean, it's for another podcast, but that's a great point. And people rot in jail in Rikers in New York City for small drug violations. It's a completely different system for people with money. And she was sentenced to complete 160 hours of community service, and she had to submit to random drug screenings and avoid people who may be bad influences, which if you're Brooke Mueller means you can't see anyone anymore. So I realize I've painted a rather broad picture of Brooke's journey in and out of rehab. But she was recently, like very recently, on the Hollywood Raw podcast, and she talked openly about how many times she was in rehab and approximately how much it cost.
If you want to know how much it cost me since my first rehab at 19 or 20 to my 30th rehab at 47, it's in the millions. And it's no exaggeration because unfortunately, I thought you had to go to these rehabs that cost anywhere from $75 to $140 a month to get sober. And in fact, this last time I went to an insurance only place and they did not cater to me. They did not enable me. They did not care who I could have been or anything like that.
Millions of dollars.
30 times in rehab.
Yeah, I thought I heard that number, but my brain just glitched out, so I wasn't entirely sure.
And when she says 75 to 140 a month, she means $1,000. 75,000 to 140,000 a month. Yeah. So that's her most recent interview. And she did that because, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, her name is popping up again in the Matthew Perry investigation. And I'm finally going to tell you exactly how she's connected.
Okay.
Eric Fleming was one of the 5 people I mentioned that was charged, and he has pleaded guilty just last month to 1 count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine, 1 count of distribution of ketamine resulting in death. Now, Eric has a very controversial past, and Brooke considers him one of her closest friends, or at least he did. Brooke and Eric met at a high-end rehab facility in Bel Air called the Red Door, where he was the program director. Brooke really liked Eric. She trusted him. So she then introduced Eric to a guy she was dating post-Charlie named Will Cooney. Will was also an addict, really struggling, and Brooke felt like Red Door is the place. Eric is the person that can really help him. It took some convincing. Will wasn't quite convinced it was the right move for him. So that's why Brooke introduced him to Eric to kind of sell the program. Okay. Eric did. He convinced Will to give the center a try, and Will checked into the Red Door. And not long after, he died from a fentanyl overdose given to him by another patient in the Red Door facility. Now, it's important to note this program director, Eric, has no formal health credentials or any kind of administrative training. He was the program director by title and no one really knows why otherwise. But as the investigation's exposing, he also distributed drugs to the rich and famous, basically operating a revolving door of addiction and recovery opportunities for people. So he was both the dealer and the recoverer.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I mean, if you're only thinking of money, that's not the worst idea. But I mean,
it's
like,
a great model if you're an absolute
evil.
monster. Yes. So Eric admits in court documents that he distributed the ketamine that killed Perry. It was given to him just days before his death. He further admits to obtaining the ketamine from his primary source, the Queen of Ketamine, who knows Brooke from any guesses where they met Melissa?
Not Charlie Sheen's house, but I'm guessing rehab.
Rehab, not Aspen. Yeah. Rehab. Yep. So they both attended one high-end rehab somewhere at the same time. Eric also admits to selling 50 vials of ketamine direct to Perry's live-in assistant, Kenneth, half of which were delivered 4 days before Perry's death. And it's a whole side story if you want to learn more about it will. When they first charged the assistant, I was like, I don't know. These Hollywood assistants, like their job is yesing these people. Like it's their livelihood.
What's the line?
This guy administered drugs to Matthew. He didn't just give them to him.
He's the one that
dispensed. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I am not equipped to make a ruling on that, but it feels so wrong. So this poor guy, Will Cooney, died in 2021. His ex-wife, Sarah, told The Hollywood Reporter, quote, "When I look back at when things truly began to unravel, it all started when he met Brooke Mueller, who also struggled with addiction. She introduced him to shortcuts and connections that only fueled their disease further. Through her, he was drawn into a circle of people who masked their greed behind labels like addiction specialists. These were sober companions who would drive them to buy drugs, doctors who would prescribe anything, and enablers who would stay silent as long as they were paid. William was vulnerable, as addicts are, and they preyed on him." So sad. So Will Cooney's family is asking the state of California to reopen his death and to investigate it in light of Matthew Perry's death because they think there could be a similar discovery made. And for anybody who wants to get really in the weeds on this, Melissa, you were kind enough to remind me TMZ Investigates doc just came out yesterday.
Yeah.
At the time of this recording, it's called Matthew Perry and the Secret Celebrity Drug Ring. It's now on Hulu. And I did watch most of it today, not all of it. Really good. They have Kelly Osbourne speaking in it, other people, but it really shows you how famous people stay out of jail while using drugs. Like,
got it.
And also the big enabling culture around them. It's it's alarming. So for these reasons that I mentioned, Brooke's close connection to Eric and informal connection to the ketamine queen, the police wanted to talk to Brooke. Her interviews with police laid out all her interactions with both Jasvine and Eric, and reports say that her cooperation led directly to Eric's arrest. So far, it does not appear that Brooke has any direct connection to his death, though she often did give him numbers and places he could go and find drugs when he asked. Like most of her friends, Matthew and Brooke met in rehab like 20 years ago before she even knew Charlie. Then they met again way after Charlie at another rehab and became friends. They stayed in touch on and off, and most of her friends and Matthew's friends agree it was mostly him calling or FaceTiming her when he needed something in the way of a hookup. When Matthew Perry died, Brooke relapsed. But she got clean again in March of 2024, and she's currently 9 months sober at the time of this recording and is doing well. As for her and Charlie, they have a new agreement and were recently seen together publicly with their boys, who are very rarely seen in the media, for a recent birthday. Let me show you one more clip, and you'll see how things are going.
What is the key to co-parenting?
I would say communication, patience, tolerance, and really just love. Focusing on love and the love you have for your children. And if you just do that, nothing else matters.
Brooke and Charlie tied the knot back in 2008, welcoming Bob and Max the next year.
I mean, words can't express how amazing and shocking it is to see two little human beings that came out of me.
After a tumultuous divorce saga, Mom and Dad told DT in 2011 they were putting the drama aside for their little ones.
We both just came up here and said, all right, look, let's look at what matters. Let's focus on priority here, and let's stop being a couple of knuckleheads and get out of our own way enough to give them the life and the attention that they need. You have to be able to communicate because so often.
And you have to be sober.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, that helps.
Back in January, E.T. learned Brooke's sobriety journey was more important to her than ever. She reportedly relapsed last summer, leading to a brand new parenting agreement, one where Charlie gets sole custody if Brooke fails a drug test.
We're friends and good co-parents, and that's what we decided is the most important thing. Because these guys, they had nothing to do with what caused whatever. It's not their fault, but they do deserve the benefit of two parents in their life.
And when we're focused on the kids, then we realize what matters.
Yeah, and all the other stuff is
all the other stuff
is
BS. Yeah.
One of those twins looks exactly like Charlie.
Yeah, I know.
The one on the far left. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even believe it.
They're cute kids. And I agree with Brooke. Sobriety does help.
Yes.
Charlie is 7 years sober right now. And
wow.
Yeah, so he's doing really well. And because of Brooke's 2023 relapse, that new arrangement I mentioned is basically that she gets full custody of the kids, but if she fails a random drug test, they go to Charlie full time.
Man, the stakes are very high there.
Yeah, that's it. It's a really tough one. I know.
Yeah.
It's really heavy.
Yeah, addiction is so tough and sad and affects so many people and then affects so many people outside of those people.
I know.
Man, I hope she's able to continue being sober. But that was the whole thing with this Matthew Perry thing. When her name came up, I was like, what on earth? Like, I couldn't figure out how she would have known Matthew really, but that makes sense that they've been in rehabs together. 30 rehabs in 25 years. Yeah. Yeah. But she did say basically they did not treat her like a princess at the one that the insurance took and stuff. And that really, what was the one forever? Promises Malibu. We all always heard about Promises Malibu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like that might not be the best place to go as a celebrity, but I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. And if you listen to that, I'll put it in the show notes as a source, the Hollywood Raw podcast or Raw Hollywood. She really is really candid about not taking ownership. And she's like, I should have been working a program. I should have been doing 12 steps and all the things that have much higher success rate for people.
Yeah.
And it's just this weird thing that happens to celebrities where it's like the rules don't apply and they're going to find the shortcut and they're going to find the easy fix. And they have a million people helping them do that. It's almost in a weird way harder, even though they have every advantage. It's like harder to get sober because they have so many people making it so easy not to.
Right. Where did Matthew Perry die? I thought it was in his home.
No,
I
did
was in
too.
His jacuzzi.
I did too. But when I watched that documentary, it says in an LA area home, like not his own,
okay.
like maybe a friend's or I don't know.
Okay.
It was a nice house, but honestly, I was kind of like, well, that's a modest friend star home. It's beautiful. Like,
of course,
I'll
like
take
a common
it. But
person.
I was surprised.
That makes more sense then.
Maybe he was staying at someone's house. I'm not sure, but God, that's awful too if you think about it. It's all awful. And honestly, when I've been very sad the last 2 days because of doing this episode. It just like breaks my heart. Brooke is a likable person. If you watch that show, she's so annoying. You can tell she's very high maintenance. Being her friend would be very exhausting.
Sure.
But she's funny and she's smart. And she's just plagued by addiction, which is just not fair that some people just get it so bad.
Yeah.
Fun fact, though, if you do watch the TMZ doc, there's a super fun appearance. I told you Kelly Osbourne was in it. There's so many interesting people. I just remembered. There's a doctor who serves on as an expert for the California Medical Board, which is like a very prestigious position. And it's our very own Terry Dubrow.
Oh my gosh.
This quote made me love him. I actually did clip it, but I thought we were going too long. But he talks about doctors who are sociopaths who want to become friends with celebrity. And I'm kind of like, I thought that was you. But because he seems like such a hobnobber, him and, is that what it's called? A hobnobber?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing. Him and Heather seem like that, but he's like, no, it's very unethical. And doctors can very easily get swept up in the friendship with a celebrity. Suddenly they're at all these cool parties and Yeah, doctors aren't always like the cool guys, you know?
Yeah.
So
I would venture to say rarely.
rarely, right. They were the nerds that we all wish we'd married, but still. So I just thought it was so funny when I saw him, but he actually spoke so well about it. And I thought, wow, he is in such a prestigious, in addition to being an amazing plastic surgeon, he's on this board. Like, anyway, it was just a fun pop out on the doc.
Yeah.
But that's the story of Brooke Mueller. I hope also that she can stay sober. I'm glad she wasn't charged in this. I feel so mixed on the non-medical doctor people who were charged, because I think that's like a different weight of responsibility. But part of me also just is so mad at everybody that he's dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so sad.
I think the whole situation is just really sad. But I only knew her. I can't wait to watch this Paris Hilton show.
Immediately. Yeah. This is when Paris was driving a pink Bentley. So were you watching something a little bit lighter and brighter, I hope?
No.
Oh, dang.
I mean, I was watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, of course.
But we knew that.
Yeah. So here's the other thing that I kind of was watching this week. It's not Breaking Bad, although I'm still in it. Netflix. Terrible, horrible, awful. Any of those words will work for this. Former partner.
Oh, give me a sec.
You got it.
It's not Popstar Academy, but it's the other one about the boy bands.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, not at all.
Oh, shoot.
We were in
what is
the
it?
wrong world. Worst ex ever?
Oh, I thought it was the one about Lou Pearlman.
No, it's not. A terrible, horrible, whatever. That was meant to replace the word worst, not just that person. I messed it up there.
No, you didn't. You're fine. I've seen the thumbnail. I'm not in a place in my life right now to watch that. Tell me about it, though, a little bit.
Well, it really is like, I feel like we've seen all of these kind of shows of like somebody, taking advantage of somebody or catfishing or killing. Yeah. This is like a whole other level.
What is left?
I know. But like, here's one that's left. What if you want to break up with them because they attack you and they make it their life's mission to make sure you get arrested, have people pretend that you robbed them. So like have peripheral people who call the police and say, I just got robbed by this lady and here's what she looks like. And they finally put it together and say, oh, it's this woman. She goes to jail for months and months and months. And they're able to see like video proof of her other places. And they're like, I don't know. What I'm saying is if you ever thought Worst Ex Ever was anything you've ever watched, no. These people, it's so beyond.
It's diabolical.
It's diabolical. It's
How many couples does it feature?
4 or 5. One is episodes? A murder. One or maybe 2.
Well, it would. I mean, yeah, worst. Yeah, I would think someone had to die.
But it is absolutely wild. It just goes so much further than you can believe somebody could even go in these things.
Gosh, yeah. I not right now.
Don't do it. But anybody else might enjoy it.
Yeah, I will.
I'm not recommending it either.
No, I'm intrigued. Like it sounds, I mean, like compared to a Dateline episode, is it like darker?
Worse.
Is it this? Okay.
Yeah. It's so much further. It's wild.
Don't I won't. I just remembered when I said Dateline, of course, that Keith Morrison is Matthew Perry's stepdad. And there was this one little scene in the doc that I hadn't seen in all the coverage, and it's of him going to the crime scene. There's the yellow tape, and he's called because it's Matthew. It was like seeing him not in his Dateline host mode, knowing what he was facing. Oh, broke my heart. Okay, I'll put it on the later list because that's a show I would watch. Netflix.
Okay.
Dakota Fanning. Chicklet.
Chicklet. What is that clue?
As in chick literature, like chicklet.
I was thinking the little gums.
I know. Like the minute I said it, I'm like, she thinks it's the gum or like a little chickie.
Tiny little.
As in like literature for chicks, which is such an offensive genre, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's The Perfect Couple.
It's The Perfect Couple, starring Nicole Kidman.
Okay.
Based on the book by Elin Hildebrand, which I didn't read. Such a fun murder mystery show.
Okay, so what is the premise exactly? Because I know there's dancing in the beginning, because I've heard...
Can I tell you how much I love the dancing in the beginning? Okay, this is cute. I started it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, what's the guy's name that's in it?
Liev Schreiber?
Okay, he used to be married to Nicole Watts, who
Naomi Watts.
Oh, Naomi Watts, who was Nicole Kidman's best friend. So I thought that was interesting pairing.
That is interesting. I didn't even think about that, but yes.
Right?
I wish Naomi Watts was in this, actually. No offense.
No.
Okay, the blurb is short. It's Amelia is about to marry into one of the wealthiest families on Nantucket until a shocking death derails the wedding and turns everyone into a suspect. Okay, good news. That dancing scene, like, opens every episode, and it kind of is like the White Lotus song that gets in your head, and it's very haunting, and it's like joyful and yet also eerie.
Right.
Love. The girl who's about to marry, Amelia, is Bono's daughter.
Oh, okay.
Her name is Eve something. She's great. And actually, one of the actresses from The White Lotus is in it, the one that everyone was like, I can't remember her name either, which is so stupid.
Something, I think.
Yeah, not the brunette who we know is... It was the lighter-haired girl who was married to, like, the alpha dude.
Yeah. It's the one that went into the, the beach with... Yeah.
Well, she goes on a beach in this one too. Yes. Yeah, this girl likes beach shows. Okay, so here's the good news. My mom and I watched it separately, and we were like, watch all of them except the finale, and then wait, because I was going to visit her, and we're like, we'll watch the finale together. We were so proud of ourselves because we loved the series that we actually both waited and watched the finale together, which was so bad. It was like the last Nicole Kidman show that we often reference with Hugh Jackman, where the end just, it's
Hugh
like
Grant. We don't have our names down. You said Hugh Jackman.
That's because that is so dumb. I knew it was Hugh Grant. Is Hugh Jackman really somehow connected? I feel like he's been in something with Naomi Watts, and maybe that was on my brain.
Hugh Jack, or whatever his name is. He was in Moulin Rouge with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
we got it there.
Whatever. He's just another Hugh. But it's like the writers were like, we know we have everyone watching now. Let's just have some fun. And it turned into a soap opera. It lost all it, like, it was slightly campy. Like, it was definitely like a slightly less well, no, it was a less elevated White Lotus, but it was still very good. And then all of a sudden it became this like campy soap opera. Every character started acting demented, and I hated the ending. But up until then, it was such a fun ride.
I truly feel like so many shows have been like that lately.
What is that? Is that an actual formula?
One?
Ugh.
Yeah.
Perfect example of a terrible ending. And this, my mom and I agree, was worse than that presumed innocent ending. Yes.
Oh, I don't know how.
It was so bad. What was the name of the last episode? Oh, That Feels Better. No, it doesn't feel better.
No. And then I just saw also that Nicole Kidman is going to be on the new season of, was it 9 Strangers or whatever? That was on Hulu. They might have been on ketamine in that, actually. I don't remember. They were taking something. Like, it was like a grief thing. Yeah. It was like it was
probably like Iowa.
Psychedelics. Maybe. I don't remember. But anyway, I can't even believe they're making a second season of that. That was hot garbage.
I didn't see that.
She's in everything. Somebody said Nicole Kidman works like she has bills to pay.
Remember? She was in that show about Hong Kong I talked about here on Netflix. Like, when is she not
always
on something? And
I know.
She's
not my favorite. We need a break.
I would have enjoyed someone else in the role. I could say more, but I still think it's worth a watch because
I want to see it.
It's really one of those ones where you literally go through the line and you're like, no, it was them. No, it was them. No, it was her. No, it was him.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah. You'll probably figure it out because you're super smart. But what are we going to talk about next episode? And is it a little bit lighter since we both had darker?
Overall, it's lighter. It's lighter. Okay. Here are my clues. I think you could do this one.
Oh, God. It's so sad. This is so sad when you say things like this. You're like, Rebekah, I think you could get this one. So put your thinking cap on. I don't think I've gotten
the last 11, so you're good.
Okay.
Utah. Scandal. Hulu.
Are you doing the girls?
We'll see.
Dakota? Is there more? There's probably
see.
so much. Oh, I hope someone's like had a scam, like a scandal, a scam.
There's some stuff.
Oh, I'm
There is
so
some stuff.
excited. This is such a good incentive to keep watching. Oh my gosh. Well, I can't wait. And as always, this is so much fun. And
I always
even
love it.
talking about the heavier stuff, I really enjoy it. And I hope this wasn't too sad. I don't know.
No, I mean, it's just a sad situation, but we got to listen to Paris Hilton absolutely talk such crap about people in the most inopportune times.
You're going to love this show so much.
I mean, I like almost either I'm having heart palpitations or my heart skipped a beat.
I'm going to text you my login as soon
It's
as we
either a
get
medical emergency or I'm just excited. We'll see.
Can't wait. Edge of my seat. Well, let's do this again in 2 weeks. Thank you everyone so much for listening. You can find us on Instagram at Criminality Show. Our website is criminalityshow.com. Melissa has another podcast called Moms and Mysteries that you hopefully are listening to. And if you aren't, you should every Tuesday.
Yep.
And I think that's it.
And Rebekah, a little birdie told me that you might have a new project that you'd like to share that I'm so freaking excited about.
Oh my gosh. It's been a hard year, guys. I've been looking for a lot of jobs and I didn't get a lot of them. And so I made a podcast about it. It's called Thank You for Your Interest, a show about professional rejection. And I am super excited about it.
So good.
And the trailer's out now. So go find it wherever you find this show. And maybe we'll put it in the show notes too. And the episodes will start coming out first week of October.
Yay. Can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And make sure
fun.
you subscribe.
Yes. Please
Actually,
subscribe
hit
or
the little
follow.
button.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Much appreciated. And, if you want to give it 5 stars, go ahead. And hey, how about for this show too? Written review doesn't hurt. If you love us, tell us.
Please. Yeah.
See you in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, exactly. Just one of you. It only takes one.
We'll have a very intimate dinner.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 of us. Okay. Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks, Rebekah. Bye.